Cantina. It's Stephanie. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit the bell for more content, and please, hit the like button and share away here. We share away here to love Star Wars. The video today is going to be what makes a compelling and a good villain, and why Kyle Ron, Millennial Super Douche, is not. So stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to the Cantina. I'm going to go a little bit academic right now and talk about what makes a good villain using some words that a lot of people probably don't know what they mean, especially if they're Raylos or Kyle Ron fans of any kind. And this is definitely going to be kind of deep. I'm going to try to make it short. If I can do this in 10 minutes, that'd be great. Anyway, so let's talk about it. What makes a good villain? Pull up a bar stool, order a drink, pull up a chair, flag down the waitstaff. This is going to get deep. What makes a good villain? A good villain is there are three different kinds of villains. I'm going to try to go really, really fast, and I'm going to explain why none of it fits Kyle Ron, and why he's basically a shitty character. I think the worst character ever in Star Wars. Here's the deal. You have the first kind of villain, and I'll bring up, I'm using Star Wars as the example, the sociopath, the true manipulative, conniving, gaslighting sociopath. And that is Sheev Palpatine, the Emperor. Throughout his history, he is always overseeing a great big sort of puppet show, that he is the puppet master. And he is absolutely a sociopath when it comes to this. He manipulates the Jedi. He manipulates Anakin. He manipulates everybody. And in the end, he gets what he wants. When he reveals himself to Anakin, it's too late. It is far too late. I mean, Anakin is already lost. He just has to, give him the final push, and that's helping to kill Mace Windu. Okay. And the thing about a villain like Palpatine is that they have a seriousness, gravitas. Gravitas is a word that comes from Latin, and it was something that back in the old days in Rome, the paterfamilias, head of a household, politicians, and men in power would strive for this. Gravitas. It means, let's see, I had it written down. It's a dignity. It's a seriousness. It means something. And it is really, really important for a good villain in a league with, like Palpatine, to have that gravitas. So we're talking about Palpatine and the gravitas that he has. Now let's talk about a different kind of thing that a villain like him has to have. He is immoral. Okay, there's morality, which I will use Yoda, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn, Leia, Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, Luke, Han. There's that. Okay, there's amorality, which is, don't really care either way, which is, amorality in some ways is worse than the next thing, which is immorality, which is doing something that is offensive either to somebody, to a group, something that is obscene, something that is unnatural. And amorality is somebody who doesn't, sees this going on and something bad going on, like somebody getting murdered, somebody getting beaten up, and instead of going to defend the innocent person, they go and take video. Okay, that's amorality. That is a lack of moral fiber either way. And to me, it's almost worse because it allows people who are immoral to thrive. And it actually, it's a place where a coward sits. Okay. They're either too afraid, don't care, or their ambitions are tied up with what the person who's committing the immoral act is doing. What can that person do for me too? So let's talk about that. So we got Palpatine basically saying the Sith do things that the Jedi consider unnatural. It's immoral. Okay. Let's talk about amoral villains. The ones who do their duty, the ones who know right from wrong and allow immoral acts to either happen under their watch. Maybe they'll take part, but their duty is and their ambition is their morals. They have no moral compass at all, either way. And Grand Moff Tarkin is the perfect example of this. He is amoral, he has gravitas, and he is very, very, very concerned with what he can get out of his job, where he can go in the service of the Emperor. Okay, that is amorality, and Tarkin is the perfect example of an amoral villain. Boba Fett is an example of an amoral villain. The idea of him having any honor. If you watch The Empire Strikes Back without all the bullshit that, Disney put around these bounty hunters, when you watch all that, you're like, this guy has absolutely no moral compass at all. He's basically a machine. And machines are immoral. I mean, the droids, they don't have a thing in them that allows them to hurt life unless they're battle droids that, Dooku and the Separatists have created, but still, okay? And Boba Fett's very amoral. Jabba the Hutt's immoral. But here's the funny thing, is that amoral villains aren't persuasive. Immoral villains are. Watch Palpatine. Now, third villain. Okay. Anakin Skywalker and his long, long fall. It didn't happen like that in The Revenge of the Sith. And we saw it start in Attack of the Clones, but it was a long fall all throughout the Clone Wars stories. And you see him getting closer and closer, doing things that Jedi don't do, beating people up, using the Force choke. And the biggest example I can think of is in season 6 when Padme Amidala's ex-boyfriend shows up and basically Anakin doesn't like the guy anyway and discovers that him kissing Padme and trying to kiss Padme, Anakin loses his mind and literally beats the shit out of him. Beats the living F out of him. Puts him in the hospital, okay? That is not what a Jedi would do. That is not what but that is what somebody with a lot of baggage and a fear would do. A fear of losing Padme, whom he loves unconditionally. He is jealous to keep her safe. If you understand where I'm going, George Lucas has said this. And that is a thing that precipitates the last part of his fall in Revenge of the Sith. And when you see Vader in the OT, you don't really see him as a tragic hero, or a villain, a tragic villain. Vader has no pathos at all until you realize who he is. Okay? He's Luke's and Leia's dad? Well, how the hell did that happen? You get to the prequels, you get to the Clone Wars, and you see it happening. So Vader goes from being an amoral, machine-like you know, as Obi-Wan likes to say, twisted and evil villain, then we see how it happened. And we see what constantly he's bombarded with. Blames himself for Padme's death. You know, has resentment, I think, probably towards the Emperor. And it's really interesting how the Emperor, we watch Return of the Jedi. The Emperor starts teaching him, treating him like shit. Okay, the Emperor starts looking at Luke as being the one he wants to be his apprentice. And remember, in Clone Wars, he says to Darth Maul, there can only be two. Okay, he kills Savage Opress and then says to Darth Maul, there can only be two. And he's already got an apprentice. And that, we all know, is Darth Vader. Okay, you know, Anakin is starting to be manipulated more and more and more. It's very interesting to see all this happening, and you get the sense that there's absolutely really nothing that Anakin can almost do. But again, remember, Anakin is the chosen one. He is the one that holds the balance of the Force in his hands. When you see him with Dooku and you see the red and blue lightsaber, that is the balance of the Force right there. And what's really interesting is that you see him kill a Sith Lord. That's another powerful statement, because Yoda in the fight with Palpatine says, "Beware of your apprentice." Why? Because everything you think you're getting out of this guy, you're not going to get. This kid, he will turn on you. And he did. And you saw that in the foreshadowing of Anakin killing Dooku. Okay? Or no. Yeah, Anakin killing Dooku. And that's what you saw. Now, real quick, why isn't Kyle Ron a good villain? First off, unlike Anakin, he has no reason to be an asshole. You know, and in some ways, that sort of, to me, reflects Palpatine and his background, which is like, why are you a dick? I mean, you had everything. Why are you a dick? There's no reason. Okay, he just is. You almost get this Joker mentality kind of going, you know, when the Joker tells Harvey in the hospital, I'm like, I have no reason to do what I do. I just do. I'm like a dog chasing a car. I don't know what I'd do if I caught it. Okay, that's kind of Kyle Ron, but written in a very poor way. And it definitely doesn't have any of the gravitas of a Palpatine. And yet, his background is more like Palpatine than anybody's. He was basically raised very well with everything a kid could ever want. His parents lavished love and attention on him. And he's an asshole. I mean, he's just a spoiled, rotten asshole. And you kind of go, so why is now I know for a fact that somehow he's not the main villain in episode 9, and that Palpatine, though he was thrown into a reactor core and incinerated, he's coming back because he's actually the real bad guy, which is, I don't mind seeing him in flashbacks, but what the fuck, JJ? This is stupid. And apparently at the very end, Kyle Ron saves Rey because he loves her. So what they're doing is they took Palpatine and turned him into a boy band member, Darth Emo, and tried to throw Anakin in it. And it makes no sense because he has no pathos. There's no tragedy. There's no tragic air about him. It's like saying Charles Manson was a tragic figure. It's what? Sorry, not buying it. Okay. You know, it's just absolutely stupid. And you know, this is why he's not a well-written bad guy. Like I said, he comes off like a rejected boy band member. He doesn't have any, there's no seriousness about what he's doing. There's no reason for him to do what he's doing at all. There was absolutely no reason at all for him to butcher his dad like a dog on a catwalk. That was unforgivable. That is something that when he did that, and I thought if they somehow try to figure out a way to redeem him after what he did to Han, I swear to God, you know, the fans should revolt if that's the case. You know, in essence, if you compare Kyle Ron to any other character, literally in Star Wars, he is the most poorly written villain, the most poorly written character in Star Wars. You know, at least Jar Jar Binks had a point. There is no point to Kyle Ron at all. None at all. Okay? And that is ultimately why he fails as a villain. He has no gravitas. There's absolutely no dignity in him at all. And he has no pathos. There's no air of tragedy. He's just a dickhead. And he's not intimidating. There's no sense of mysteriousness. I mean, you pull off his mask and you see that lopsided, asymmetrical, ugly face. It's like, that's Han and Leia's son? Are you shitting me? That guy? He looks like Jar Jar Binks had a kid with a Twi'lek. I mean, that's what he looks like to me, all right? You know, there's no reason for him at all to even exist because he has absolutely no seriousness in his makeup, who he is, okay? And he's not a good villain because of it. He's a poorly written, shitty villain, okay? So this is Steph signing out. I'll see you on the Galaxy, see you on the Cantina. Please remember to tip the Wookiee bartenders 20%. And don't start any fights in the Cantina because the Wookiee bouncers will freak out. And no gunfights in here. No bounty hunters, no droids. And I'll see you around. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that. Sorry it went a little bit long, but sometimes you've got to really kind of get into depth about a certain subject and what makes a good villain. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the bell so you know when I upload more content. Hit that like button and share away here. We share away here for love of Star Wars. And I'll see you around the Galaxy, scoundrels.